What do you want from me? I'm just blood and flesh and bones. I'm not an answer.
Welcome to Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, the show where the Office of Military Affairs keeps you mildly entertained and more or less up to date on what's going on at UNCW. Your hosts are Joanna DeMott, the Military Liaison and Program Coordinator, and Melanie Nelson, the Military Student Services Specialist. Hey Joanna, how's it going?
Great, it's going great. The kids are at the pool with their dad today. So at any minute we could have, lots of children's voices running through. Hopefully not, but you never know. But it's a great day. How are you, Melanie?
I'm doing pretty good. It's pretty hot outside, but I took a walk, and that's really all I can say is it's hot outside.
Definitely different. I'm super excited. We have a pretty special guest today. We have Holly Smith, the Assistant Director of Fitness and Aquatics. Speaking of pool time, how are you today, Holly?
Doing great. Don't expect any kids on my end, but there may be cats in the background. So.
Excellent. We enjoy furry coworkers as well. Absolutely.
I have two of them. So.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. I see that you are not in an office on campus. So your work situation is a little bit different now than it was in early March. How is it different? What makes it a little different?
Yeah. So I guess we can start with just that, working from home. So teleworking. Really, I've been into the office, I think, 2 times since March 18th. And so campus is a bit of a ghost town at this point. And I think work for me, it's been nice being at home. Obviously, it's, extremely flexible and a lot of, I guess, virtual conversations and more phone calls than I've ever conducted in a 3-month time span. But it's been pleasant, it's been challenging, and I feel as if I am more available now than I am when I am in the office. And so I think that's been a good thing and sometimes extremely challenging as well. So.
Absolutely. I think that when we initially started the podcast, we had a whole hierarchy of needs, and one of those was your accessibility, or how often you feel like you have to be checking emails and taking those phone calls. And sometimes you feel like you need to be a little bit more accessible. So it's nice that people can reach you, though, that you're able to help more people and provide more customer service than you were before. That's great. I'm going to turn you over to Melanie. She has some wonderful things to chat with you about as well.
Great.
I do indeed. And first, I just want to say, I love the trend at universities where we have these beautiful campus recreation facilities. And it's heartbreaking to know that nobody's getting to enjoy them right now. Like, of all the things that we could be doing on campus right now, I feel like being at the pool would be so amazing because it is really hot outside. And so solidarity, I feel your pain if you're like, oh, it would be so nice to just be able to go in there today. I get you. Yeah. So the first question that we want to know is the same question we ask everybody, which is, what are you snacking on these days? So you're pretty into fitness, which means you're probably pretty into like healthy eating things, which is fine. We're not here to judge you if that's what the kind of things you snack on. If there are other things that you snack on that you maybe wouldn't want to advertise, now is the time to advertise it anyway. So what are you snacking on these days?
I would say I have been living off of Oat Mega protein bars. Vanilla almond is superior. It's definitely the best flavor. And frozen waffles. I've gone through a 24 pack about every, 8 to 10 days. Since we've been in the COVID situation, I've been ordering groceries for delivery, and it seems to be on my reorder list for every 10 days. So that and lots of Diet Dr. Pepper.
That's a lot of frozen waffles, but I can see It's interesting that you if you're ordering groceries online, then suddenly you have a log of all the things that you're actually ordering all the time. And it's like, oh, that wasn't an every once in a while purchase. That's all the time. Frozen waffles, love it. And yeah, protein bars. So that's good. That's good. That was what I was expecting. No surprises there. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear that you have some intention around your snacking. That's always good. So you've mentioned that you feel a little more available now that you're teleworking. But what or whom do you not miss right now while teleworking?
Well, I miss so many things, so that's a tough question. I guess being at home versus being in the office. Something I don't miss, I guess, are meetings that now we're conducting via email. I know that sounds horrible, and it's kind of a trope of our now teleworking situation, but it is nice to not have quite as many meetings and receive information, that can be reviewed, I don't know, at different times. So more convenient times.
Yes, the inconvenience of all those meetings. And I know so this is going to be probably a longer story than I was expecting, but when I was in the military and deployed on a ship, we had like a closed circuit TV when we were close to shore. We had some sort of TV access when we were out to sea, but close to shore. And we had been deployed to other countries, so we didn't have anything on TV. It was just like whatever DVD the guys in the tech room wanted to play. If you had access to it and you wanted to watch it, great. Otherwise, that's it. And so as we pulled back in closer to shore toward the end of deployment, we started picking up a TV signal, and we were like, oh, commercials. We kind of missed commercials. And so we watched like 2 commercials. We're like, well, that was fun. I feel like I'm caught back up on culture. And then like at the next commercial break, we were like, oh my gosh, commercials are so annoying. And I get the feeling that we're going to have sort of the same thing happen when we go back to campus and we settle back down and be like, okay, now we used to just be able to do this in email, and now we have to go and schedule a meeting and find the space and get everybody in there and make sure there's enough room for social distancing and all the things. And we're going to be like, no, but I'm really excited to get to have that small talk interaction that I was missing while I was working from home. And it's going to last one time. And then we're going to be like, oh my gravy, why didn't you just send me an email? That's all I got. Like I said, it was a long story. It's just something that's been on my mind. All right, so you do not miss meetings that could otherwise be taken care of more expediently in email. Solidarity on that one. Right there with you. So the next question, because we're doing a lot of things on Zoom, what are your pet peeves on Zoom these days?
I think something that I've noticed bugs me more than anticipated. I'm a person who typically shows up pretty early for meetings, for interviews, anything of that nature. And I guess the Zoom etiquette is show up right on time. And so that's been something that is a bit of a pet peeve for me, in that, I might log on even 3 or 4 minutes before, but you're still just sitting there looking at yourself for 3, 4, 10 minutes until someone else arrives. So I think that's probably the biggest pet peeve. Aside from that, just being zoomed out. No one typically text or a phone call seems super easy, but it seems in our current circumstances, everyone wants to, can you hop on a quick Zoom call for anything that could still be a text or a phone call. So I think those are probably my 2 pet peeves.
Those are good ones. See, this is why we like Holly in the Office of Military Affairs, because she's very sympathetic to the way we do things. The thing is, there's like no reward for showing up early anymore, I think is what you're saying. Like, you can sit there for 10 minutes staring at yourself, and it didn't actually buy you any time because you didn't have to like transition from the office to another location for a meeting. And then there's nobody to sit there and chatter with, because especially if you're trying to log into one where like there's a host and they haven't let everybody in yet, then you're just like, I just set aside all this time and I could have probably responded to at least one more email. And then you realize that's what everybody else is doing. They're sitting there responding to that one last email and taking your time. And it just it's a vicious cycle.
Yes.
Yes. Those are excellent things to add to our giant list of pet peeves on Zoom that we have been curating as a public service here on the Mildly Entertaining podcast. And so I have one final question for you, which is this. If you had to telework for the rest of your career, what would be the most important things for you to keep in mind?
Invest in a good office chair. And I think just ensuring that, thinking about, we've only been doing this for 12 weeks now, I guess. I'm just now looking at the date. And so thinking about, my own well-being and the journey that I've been on at this time, ensuring that for myself and anyone else I'm working with, that we're holding each other accountable and being cognizant of what we're asking of each other and the time of day. I know sometimes, if I take a late lunch, I might still send emails to my team at 6 or 7 at night, and where's that balance? So I would say investing in a good office chair and focusing on well-being or trying to manage and navigate that as it's ever changing. Those would be my two main things.
I like what you say about being mindful of what we're putting on others during this time, or in conditions where normally our work wasn't designed for this. We were designed to be able to have a quick chat in passing, or to have a quick face-to-face, or to just feel like it's okay to do a quick phone call or a text chat instead of having to meet in Zoom. So every time we ask for this, we are leading into the zooming out for the day of all the people that we're inviting to join us on Zoom. That's a really good point. I did not invest in a good office chair for the past 12 weeks. I am sitting on a folding chair that has a tiny bit of padding. It's like one of those little Costco folding chairs. And I regret. That's all I'm gonna say. We're moving into Veterans Hall later this summer, and there should be a shiny brand new office chair for me there, and I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you for sharing words of wisdom from Holly Smith today. And I'm gonna hand you back over to Joanna now.
Sounds good.
So you're into fitness. We've discussed this. It's a fact. What are your favorite at-home workouts?
Ooh, I've been doing a lot of body weight HIIT workouts lately and running more than I have run in years. And so I would say top favorite is running. Second to that, HIIT workouts that I can do with no equipment and knock out in 20-25 minutes.
Very nice. I love it. It is nice to be done in 20-25 minutes and not have to go somewhere and then come back and then take a shower and then just be done. That's excellent.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have a passion or something that you feel gets you really excited, something that provides you with a lot of energy that you could tell us about?
Well, definitely passionate about fitness, but we've already determined that. I really like direct service. So I know one thing for me that's been really cool for the last 12 weeks, which again is super hard to believe, but with the increased flexibility of teleworking, I've been able to volunteer more and been able to, flex my work schedule from time to time as needed to do more. And so I did throughout the last, 10 years, done a lot of work related to hunger and homelessness. And so I've had an opportunity to work with Mother Hubbard's, which is like 2 blocks down from my apartment, and worked with Nourish North Carolina over the past few weeks. And so that's been something I'm super passionate about, and I've really enjoyed having the time instead of making the time, during this time period. So that's the first thing that comes to mind.
That's really awesome. Yeah, that's what a wonderful way to spend this time to feed other people. That's really admirable for sure.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that flexibility to be able to do that. I think that would be a wonderful argument for some flex work from home time. I feel the same way. I had a PTA meeting yesterday right after work, and it was not driving down from Jacksonville, having to make it super late or anything. We were able to just 30 minutes meet and be done and take care of some things that are really important for the kids' school in the future. So that's something I think we neglect a lot when we think about this work from home environment and why it's valuable not only to us but to the community at large. That's
Sure.
amazing. I love it. When you are on campus, what is your favorite part of your job?
The students, the students that are student team members of Campus Rec, so those that we employ, but also the students in and out of our programs and in and out of our facilities all day long. That's certainly the biggest thing that I miss, and I would say has been lost in all of this. I've certainly reached out to our student team members, but even Zoom and talking with them via GroupMe is just not the same.
Absolutely. We hope that can change sometime soon, and stay safe.
Yeah.
Do you think there, on the campus or in the community at large, do you think there are any misconceptions about campus recreation?
I think there can be. I think for a lot of folks with campus recreation, they only think about fitness and physical activity. So I think that word recreation sometimes really gets tied so closely to fitness. And, oftentimes folks forget about other facilities or other program offerings. So for some folks, when we try to educate about what we offer, and we present the idea of a trip with our adventures program, folks are like, oh, I didn't realize that that's a part of campus recreation, or playing intramurals. Folks don't always realize that that's us, that's campus recreation. And in my experience, I would say too, oftentimes we get lumped in with athletics, and we are very much separate entities. So I would say, yeah, there are certainly some misconceptions all the way around.
And sports are so important for people to really become a part of the community. What an instantaneous almost way to really immerse yourself in the culture on campus. So I didn't know that, and that's amazing. So
yeah,
hopefully one of our 3 listeners will remember that when we start to be able to play some sports. And I see some sports starting out in the community with some different regulations. So maybe that's one of the things that we'll be able to start back up maybe in the spring or something.
yeah.
Like that would be really awesome.
And individual sports, so golf and golf.
well, tennis, right? You could do tennis.
Go do tennis. Yeah, I've been advocating for cornhole. I know there are some stipulations of sharing bean bags, but I think when we think about trying to limit ourselves, there are a few options, and I agree with you. Sports are so important for engagement and stress relief, and building a sense of community. So I'm hopeful for as soon as possible a return for at least a few different sports.
We could get some latex gloves for that cornhole. Yeah. We could do it. We can
Whatever
do
it takes.
I love it. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the 3 listeners that we have today?
Oh man, I hope everyone's doing well, and I appreciate being invited to chat with you all. It's nice to see 2 other human beings, and that's really it.
Thank you so much, Holly. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you both for having me.
Of course, it was so nice to get to see you. It's been a while, so it was nice to check in. And shout out to the handful of student veterans and other military affiliated students who are part of the campus recreation team. We're thinking about you right now, and mostly I'm thinking about how you're always talking about working out and your very, very healthy keto diets, and how glad I am not to have to listen to it all the time right now. I'm just kidding. I miss you. I miss you so much. Thank you again, Holly, for joining us today. This has been an episode of Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, and we will see you on the internet.
Thank you for listening to Mildly Entertaining. Our intro music comes from the band Blue Turnip and their song, What Do You Want From Me? You can find their EP, Songs from the Root Cellar, on Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. For more information, you can go to blueturnipmusic.com.